Okay. Resolution number 25-243, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 25-243. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
We are back in regular session, and one of the items that we were discussing, as was read by our clerk, we went into executive session for pending or imminent litigation. However, we can never make any decisions in executive session, and there are certain things we can't even discuss in executive session. So I would like our general counsel to really give some background on this so we can discuss this.
Sure. So, as you mentioned, one of the topics of discussion was pending or imminent litigation, and there is currently litigation pending between the commissioners and the county treasurer over the investment advisory committee's policy and the treasurer's failure to follow the policy that was adopted. The litigation that was filed, our staff recommendation was that this board not remove the treasurer as investing authority as a result of the last semi-annual review of investment procedures. And the reason for that had primarily to do with burdens on county staff to overtake or to take over all of the investing operations for the county, because you don't really have the authority to limit that to just the issue that was at hand, which was these private placement investments that the treasurer had undertaken. And so that was the basis for the recommendation. In the litigation, and I won't go into a lot of detail, the approach of the board has been to take this middle ground where we don't exercise that authority to remove the treasurer as investing authority. Instead, view the treasurer's position on the matter as a good faith argument that the policy is invalid. Commissioner's position of the other two members of the committee is that it is valid and that he would need to follow it. So to get this issue in front of a judge who can make a decision on that point, one way or the other, is this policy valid? Was it a proper exercise of the investment committee's authority to make policies for governing investments for the county? All indications to date are that the treasurer doesn't actually have any interest in the judge making that decision. And so it raises the question as to is it really worthwhile for us to be seeking this middle position? But one of the issues that we cannot discuss in executive session is the staff recommendation was that you not remove the treasurer as investing authority. That issue cannot be discussed in executive session, even though a lot of the same facts are being discussed as it relates to the litigation. So on that specific point, I would turn it over to the board if contrary to the staff's prior recommendation about whether to remove the treasurer as investing authority, if the board would like to discuss that, then we can respond with any questions that you might have.
Sure. I certainly would like to discuss it because it is my understanding, the law is very clear that the commissioners do have the authority to remove the treasurer as the investing authority. And the reason for doing this would be that we are here to protect the spending of public funding, of taxpayer dollars. We're the guardians of taxpayer dollars. And my feeling is the buck stops here. And so I would certainly favor doing that, because we tried to do something that did not deal with the whole removal of his investing authority. But it's just, he refuses to acknowledge that.
I had a couple questions, I think, for our council. How does, if we were to make that decision to remove the vested authority, what is the process to do that? If you could just walk us through that.
So on March 6th, you had the semi-annual review, and after conclusion of the semi-annual review, if you have made the necessary findings under the statute, it is permissive, it's not required, it's permissive for the board to designate a different investing authority for the county. And the statute says that it needs to either be the board, a member of the board, or an employee of the board. So those are the restrictions on it. Again, it's permissive, which is, we as staff noticed that it was permissive, and so based on the results of the semi-annual review, our recommendation was that you not do that. And procedurally, what you could do is, if there's an interest in revisiting that point, you could amend your resolution from March 6th to come to a different conclusion about, I don't have it up in front of me, but I think that it just said that you elected not to exercise that authority under the statute. You could certainly amend your resolution to instead elect to take that permissive authority to remove the treasurer as investing authority. But as I mentioned earlier, it's not a surgical approach. You can't carve out the portion that you're most concerned about. You would be removing him as investing authority. He would not have authority over any of the investment powers of the county anymore. And you would need to designate either yourself collectively as the board, one of your members, or an employee. And our review of this prior was that the Director of Finance, Justin Navi, would have the requisite expertise to fill that role, but we were concerned about whether he would have the time or whatever else to actually carry out all of those duties, even if he got all of the access to the information that he needed. So, I mean, that's the process. You would amend your prior resolution to take that action if that's what the board wanted to do.
Okay. And if we were to designate Justin Navi, for instance, to take over that authority, it would go into effect immediately?
The statute doesn't really talk about effective date, and so you could theoretically push that out into the future, but my recommendation would be, if you take that action, that you make it effective upon delivery of the written notice, because that's what the statute requires, that you provide notice of your findings in writing to the treasurer. So that would be my recommendation, is that you not push that out into the future, that you make it effective upon delivery of that written notice, so that there's no ambiguity.
Okay. And that notice would be delivered today?
If you take the action today, it could be delivered today.
Yes. Okay. Did you have another question? All right. I would like to ask Justin if he feels that he could undertake this.
Good morning, Commissioners. Justin Navi, Director of Finance. Thanks for allowing me to come up to speak.
Sure.
Don't have any concerns providing this function for the county.
Okay.
It's similar to the work I've done previously at City of Delaware and City of Marysville.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Any other questions, comments?
Again, we're trying to protect taxpayer investment dollars that are invested, to make sure that we're getting a fair and safe return on those dollars. And the private placement program in particular has not been doing that, in my opinion.
Right.
We've demonstrated that, and we did the semi-annual reviews and demonstrated why we proposed the previous action.
Right. I think some of that too, I know in just reading these reports that he puts out, he's continually trying to get other private placement investments. I mean, so it's like, you know, either the best way to do that is to take away his investment authority, according to my way of thinking. It's certainly tried, as our counselor mentioned, to make it more restrictive, but without luck.
Right. And we're just in a cycle of ongoing litigation and nothing, and no interest in cooperating and resolving it. So I agree. I think it's time.
Right. Okay.
Based on the comments I heard, I think we probably should ask our legal counsel to put together a document that we could evaluate and vote on.
Yes, I agree. We should go into recess then,
Yeah, I think if you
for you to
give me
do that.
15 minutes, if it takes a little bit longer than that, that's fine. But give me 15 minutes to work on something, and I can have a draft that you can then discuss.
Okay. Then we will recess until noon.
We can just say 15 minutes more or less.
Okay. 15 minutes more or less.